The various count functions in Excel are very useful for performing error checks. In this example, we'll go through some of these. In this example, we have a number of cells with numbers in them, and all we're trying to do is check whether these numbers are even or not, as shown in this formula. What we would like to build is a single check that will look through these checks and identify if any one of them is an error, so that we can see in one cell whether the entire column of cells have an error in them. First, let's understand what the count function does. So in this cell, I click on the function wizard and I find the count function and I say OK. And what you'll see, it tells me that the count function counts the number of cells that contain numbers and numbers within the lists of arguments. So in the values for this example, I'm going to highlight all of these, and when I say OK, you'll see the count function comes up with a 0 because there are no numbers here. Excel has another function called COUNTA, and if we activate that function, you'll see what it says is it counts the number of cells that are not empty and the values within the list of arguments. So in this case, I'm now going to highlight the same area. When I click OK, you'll see it tells me that there are 12 non-blank cells here. In order to check now whether all of these are okay or whether there's a problem cell, we can now do a COUNTIF and then compare it to the number of non-blank cells. So for example, the COUNTIF function, if I activate it, I can now tell it to look in a certain range. So we highlight that range. And then it asks for the criteria. And what I wanted to do is to count how many OKs are in this area. So I'll put the word OK. And when I click OK, we can see that COUNTIF tells me there are 10 OKs in this area. I can now use this information to check whether all these cells indicate OK. So in this cell, I'm going to use an if function. The logical test for the if function, we know that this cell, which indicated 12, included the header and the border cells. So what we want to do is say, if this cell minus those two items is equal to the number of OKs I found, if that is true, then say OK. If it is false, say check. When I say OK, we'll have our error check. Now let's say we go here and this number changes to an odd number. You'll see it immediately shows the error. We can go back to the original and now shows that all these cells are the same. In this example, we've used a number of cells to get our answer, but it is possible to put all of this into one formula. And a way of doing this would be, click on the final formula you're looking at and just copy that part of it. There we go, we say equals that. Now we can see this D8 is coming from here, and this has a formula in it. So for now, I'm going to just get out of here. If I go to D8 and I copy the formula in D8, copy it, push escape button to get out of it, come back to my formula here, and I replace that D8 with the formula we just copied. So now we've got if the count minus 2 equals D9. I'll put enter to get out of the cell. D9 had another formula in it, and again I can copy that formula, push escape to get out of it, come down to my single formula, and where the D9 is, I can replace the reference with the actual formula. And what you'll see is we've now got quite a comprehensive formula, and when I push OK, you'll see it acts exactly the same way as our 3 cells here. So if I go here, change that to a 3, both formulas change. So you can either do it this way, split it out over a number of cells to make it easy to understand, or you can build it all into one cell.